let's move on now to the San Francisco 49ers in our 2023 NFL Draft review. But before we get into that, if you have not already, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and ring that bell to get notified when we create new Niners content. Brian and I, we have a goal of getting to 2,000 subscribers by the beginning of the 2023 NFL season. And that means a lot more 49ers content, as we are going to be doing more offseason reviews, 2023 season predictions, training camp videos as well, and a lot more content around the 49ers. Also just general NFL videos as well that you might want to tune into to see who your Niners are going to be going up against. So be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, and Ryan, let's get into this.
Let's do it.
The 49ers, it's objectively, it's really hard to grade a class or to kind of like a class when you don't have any picks that are double digits. They traded up to a double-digit pick, but going into this draft, they're at pick 100. And that being said, I think they were able to find some people that were good for the program, but it definitely overall, I think on your draft grade, it is kind of tough to get into. But there's still a lot of potential, I think, with why they gave up those picks. Trey Lance, still haven't seen too much of him. Maybe those picks were worth it, or maybe they can trade and get a couple picks back if they realize they want to go with Brock Purdy. But then that leaves another question too to their quarterback, Brock Purdy. What's his UCL situation? We still don't really kind of know. So a lot of questions going into the 2023 NFL season for the Niners. But let's get into their draft class here.
Let's do it.
Their first pick, they actually traded up to go get Jair Brown, safety of Penn State. I actually don't hate that pick. I think he has a lot of potential. And also, too, Niners did lose a couple of players on the defense side of the ball, like not Aziz. Did they lose Aziz Al-Shaair? Who went?
I believe he went to Houston.
No, he went to Tennessee. I know he's a linebacker, but still, Jair Brown, he is a little bit of I think kind of a nice gadget safety.
Heftier
so
safety.
Potentially can move him up into the box and help out a little bit with that. So that's kind of why I like that pick a little bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't love this pick. And like you'll see a common trend here, I think, on my opinion on a lot of these picks. But like I just felt it was slightly ahead of where he should have gone. And yeah, I think he's a good player. I wouldn't necessarily trade it up for him. Granted, you're picking at 99, 100 and like 102 or something. So like or 101, I guess. But I don't know. Of all the players that were falling, I didn't necessarily think that this was one like that they had to go up and get.
Yeah, so that's where I'll defer to the scouts, and also too, like you were sitting there all day Thursday, all day on Friday, and you're now just kind of waiting. And I'm sure it's like it got to a point like, at what point do we feel comfortable going up and getting a guy that we like at risk of him potentially not making it to our next pick? Like they went up 12 picks, 13 picks to go get him. Not substantial in the third round. Didn't have to give up too much, especially with all the picks that they had at their arsenal. So I could honestly see it just being like an antsy pick, being like, let's be aggressive. Let's go get a guy that we like and then go from there. So if there was a pick that I would probably have waited on, would have been the next pick, get a kicker. Pick. He is the best kicker in the draft. However, just with where you're picking, I find it interesting that you would go that route of getting a kicker with your second pick. I would have thought, I mean, shoot, let's look. Who else was taken in the end of that third round there? Cameron Latu as well, but Trey Tucker and then Mekhi Blackman. I think I could see some potential value there as well. But then in the beginning of the fourth round, a lot of interior offensive linemen and defensive linemen were taken also. So I probably would have wanted to beef up that area of the field as well, because that is also your guys, that's their strength, so to say. So you want to make sure that you have good young talent consistently behind them that you can groom and grow. That being said, though, I mean, I guess they did get the best kicker in the 2023 draft.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with the idea of drafting a kicker round 5 and before. Round 6, I believe, is fair game because at that point you're probably picking in like the 200s. Round 7, you're definitely picking in the 200s. So I think that's more where these guys should be going. This is way too early for me. I mean, like way too early. So I didn't really like that pick. I was just as critical of the Patriots pick. I think it was 13 picks later at 112. It's just way too early for a pick. Or for a kicker. So, and then another person who I thought it was way too early for, Cameron Latu, the tight end from Alabama. He just didn't really do anything this season that made me like him. Like he's too small to be a really solid blocker. He's not super explosive. He does have pretty good hands in contested catch situations, but with that being said, he was constantly in contested catch situations because he couldn't separate. So
yeah.
So that to me was hard to. It wasn't hard to grade because I don't like it, but like I just don't understand why him there.
Well, George Kittle probably has, I mean, it's safe to say, what, 2 good years left. I mean, and he can absolutely have more. I'm just saying, like for sure. So this could absolutely be a developmental project. Give Kittle some rest, can grow behind him because he does fit that build of kind of what they're looking for. He's a similar build, I would say, to Kittle. 6'4", 240, can move decently well. So if he can kind of learn that route running, get that separation under his belt, that could help out from there. So, but let's move on though now to day 3. Did not have any round 4 picks as well, but ended up taking Darrell Luter Jr. out of South Alabama, addressing that corner position. Also, Robert Beal Jr., defensive end out of Georgia. I actually sneakishly like that pick as well. Anytime you can get a defensive player from Georgia is probably a decently good pick.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Darrell Luter. He played at South Alabama, played in the Sun Belt, but not sure there. The Robert Beal Jr. thing, I thought he would be like, I guess he is kind of a late round flyer, but I don't know. He was of all the Georgia defenders to come out of the class in the last 2 years, he was the one that everybody was like, this guy's the worst. Of all of them, and granted, I guess that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah, I'd say, that I would love to be the worst defensive player on the best defensive team in college history.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. There's some questions there about his play, and then D Winters I think is good linebacker depth there, and then actually I honestly like these next 2 picks the most out of all the picks, but Braden Willis, the tight end from Oklahoma, and Ronnie Bell, I think will be solid depth pieces, if not be able to contribute. So,
yeah. It's, I mean, they had, it's so many late round picks, so they're just trying to find as much value as you can. I agree with you as well, like especially the Ronnie Bell pick, getting a versatile receiver that you can throw into that room as well. Because they've done well with their receivers and Kyle Shanahan's offense. You need guys that are versatile, to say the least. So
no, yeah, definitely. And Ronnie Bell has a lot of versatility lining up inside, outside, and whatnot. So I like that one. And then Jalen Graham, the outside linebacker from Purdue, a bigger guy, going to be a edge setter, not super explosive and doesn't have a whole lot of pass rush moves, but again, developmental piece that I think has some decent physical tools. So
yeah.
But let's move on now to our grades. If you can't tell, probably not the best draft class. But again, like you said at the beginning of the video, it's hard to like a draft class that doesn't have any first or second round picks. They didn't even actually have a third round pick that was not a compensatory pick until they trade up. Like to be frank. So
actually, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
So yeah, they barely had a third round pick. So
yeah,
it's I think this to me I think was my lowest class. I'm trying to think if they gave anyone a D. I don't believe I did.
I gave a couple teams a D.
You gave a couple teams some Ds, and so for me, it's just tough. I also just felt similar to kind of what you were saying. On top of the fact that they picked so late, and technically with the forfeited pick, they did have one pick initially going into the draft that was double digits, pick 99. But I definitely just tough to get good value. Like guys who's going to come in on day one and help compete and add value that aren't project pieces. And so I'm sure there's a couple of those guys as well. I guess Jake Moody could come in and be your starting kicker, but he's your day one starting kicker probably. But in general, though, with all the trades that they had come up, and also to be frank as well, you're the 49ers. You don't have too many holes, So I guess on the flip side, you could say that those trades were worth it because then you got great talent and your starters are essentially there. But then trying to find depth just in case if something happens or guys to grow to easily replace them, that's going to be the issue with this draft here. But just pure talent wise, coming strictly from this draft, just overall poor, just considering where they were picking at.
Yeah. So to me, kind of how I've been rating these classes, just to give some perspective on this, is guys that I think are going to come in and either start or contribute on day one. And I think maybe Jair Brown can contribute. Jake Moody will definitely contribute, but he is a kicker. Cameron Latu, and I don't like. I think he's going to be kind of put on a shelf. I just think he has a lot of things that he needs to be done, and I could be totally wrong on him, but he has a lot of things to work on. I think Robert Beal was barely a rotational player at Georgia. And then it's just like, I think you look at like the rest of this class, and I think Ronnie Bell and Braden Willis has their two of their 7th round picks have just as good of a chance to be in their rotation as Jair Brown and Cameron Latu, 2 of their first 3 picks. And I just think that's a sign of a bad draft.
Well, yeah, but I don't disagree. And it's like, as we said earlier, when your first pick is 99 or 100, it's tough to get good value. Yeah. So you're kind of just throwing darts and hoping that a couple hit.
Yeah, no, I think that's the main reason for that grade. But all in all, for 2023, I think the San Francisco 49ers have still a pretty good outlook. The biggest question I think that you already mentioned was the fact that they don't really know who their starting quarterback is going to be. Is it going to be Trey Lance? Is it going to be Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold? We don't really know. So I would like to see them get that resolved. I do still think they're my favorite to win the division, but Seattle is nipping at their heels.
Yeah.
So other than that, I think that's going to wrap up the 2023 draft recap for the San Francisco 49ers. If you guys have not already, please go down and subscribe, and ring that bell to get notified when you guys – I don't know what I'm saying. Ring that bell to get notified when we create new content. Leave a comment down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.